Okay, guys, let's continue with two more examples. So here I noted assumption for conditional derivation and conditional derivation. They're not really the rules, but sort of the techniques we use in proving arguments. All right, so here's the example 2. There are two premises, P implies Q, and then R implies S. Therefore, the conclusion is P and R implies Q and S. Okay, so the location of the brackets is very important. So this is the correct version. So let me write this conclusion here because I'm going to erase this because I want to deduce this from these two premises. Okay, so how do I start my proving? Well, the conclusion that I'm trying to reach is another conditional statement. It is a conditional statement, right? So therefore, I'm going to start. So this is line 1, this is line 2. These are the premises. So I'm going to open a sort of a sub-proof. In line 3, I'm going to assume P and R. So this is assumption for conditional derivation. So what do I learn from this assumption? Well, because this is P and R, I know that both P and R must be true. So therefore P is true, simplification of the argument in 3. And similarly, R must be true. Again, this is simplification of arguments in line 3. What else? Well, now I have P implies Q and P, so both are true statements. So therefore, I can conclude by modus ponens, Q is also true. So this is thanks to modus ponens of arguments 1 and 4. What else? In line 7, I have R implies S. I have R, so both are true. So therefore, S must be true. Again, modus ponens thanks to arguments in line 2 and 5. So what do I have? I have Q and S. Remember, so therefore, by conjunction, I must have Q and S. So conjunction of the arguments in lines 6 and 7. So that's it. If P and R is true, Q and S must be true. This is what I just shown. If P and R is false, Q and S may be true or may be false. Who cares? The argument is true anyway. Okay, so therefore I close this box because my subproof is done. The statement P and R implies Q and S is true. And this is how we prove this argument or the validity of this argument. All right, what about the next example, example 3? So I have, again, two premises. P implies S implies R, P implies Q implies S, and this is the conclusion. So let's note the conclusion somewhere here once again. All right, this is what I want to prove. So I'm going to start by noting the line numbers. And because this is a conditional derivation, I'm going to start by assuming P. So in line 3, I assume P is true. This is assumption for conditional derivation. What do I learn from this assumption? P implies S implies R. P, therefore by modus ponens, S must imply R. Modus ponens of lines 1 and 3. Also, P implies Q and S, and P, I must have Q implies S. This is also thanks to modus ponens of line arguments in line 2 and 3. So, oh, very good. Let me check if my argument was true. Yep, that was true. Very good. So now, remember, I want to prove P implies Q implies R. So I assumed P but I couldn't reach to Q implies R yet. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to open another box, all right? Subproof of the subproof. So line 6. In line 6, I'm going to assume Q, because if Q is false, this statement is true anyway. If Q is true, however, this statement is true only if R is true. So I need to assume Q is true and show that R must be true. So Q, this is assumption for conditional derivation. Okay, what do I learn from this? 7. Q implies S is true. Q is true, therefore S must be true. This is modus ponens of arguments in line 5 and 6. All right, one thing you may say, well, I mean, in this box, can I use the previous arguments? Well, yes, I can, because this box is not closed yet, all right? In the sense that I couldn't prove P implies Q implies R yet. So therefore, my assumption P true, so that all of this thing is true under the assumption that P is true. Okay, so therefore, I can use those previous arguments. So QS, so what do I have? All right, one more line. I have S implies R, I have S, so therefore R must be true as well. So this is modus ponens of line arguments in line 4 and 7. Very well. So if Q is true, R must be true. I proved that argument. So therefore, I'm going to close this. And I'm going to come back to the original box. So this is line 9. All right. So Q implies R is true. This is conditional derivation. So what do I have? I have P, assuming that P is true. Well, then Q implies R must be true. So therefore, I prove that this argument is also true. So I can now close this entire box. All right. And so therefore, this is line 10. Okay. Now I know that P implies Q implies R. Okay. So now, for example, in line 11, I cannot use anything in line 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are not allowed because all these arguments, all right, all these arguments are true within this box, all right? And outside of it, I cannot refer back to anything in this box. So this is conditional derivation thanks to the arguments in between line 3 to 9. I should also say this is thanks to the conditional derivation, all the arguments in between lines 6 to 8. All right, so if these are the premises, then this is the conclusion, which is what I wanted to achieve. So this is how we prove that this argument is a valid, this conditional argument, this argument with conditional sentences is a valid argument.